But also, finally, Russia, all the rest of it, finally they've got their thing to say, 2016 doesn't count. It was a cheat. He didn't really earn the presidency. People didn't really vote for him. They were cheated out of information. Therefore, the system maintains its perfect record of picking within its own. And I've got to say, again, even as somebody who, after 2020, we were having those conversations, remember sort of going, well, okay, maybe it's time to move on. Will they move on? Who knows? Look at the polls, look at the this, look at the that. But the thing that just sends me really crazy is that the Democrats literally think that their prosecution of Donald Trump or their attitude towards Donald Trump makes them better people. It proves that they're better people. And anyone who gives Trump either the benefit of the doubt or is an outright supporter, there's something wrong with them too.
Well, I mean, look, you saw that even in my interview with Bill Maher, right? Where he said we can demonize Trump, which he likes to do, but not his supporters. But as soon as I said I was voting for Trump, something switched, right? Like I got moved into a category of like enemy for a while there. And we landed it in the end. But that is how strong the hatred for Trump is. And, I was watching MSNBC and their coverage today, and they were talking about how they've never seen someone behave like this toward a judge and his gag order earlier in the case, unless that person's mentally unbalanced. It would have to be somebody from an institution. And I thought the reason all these unprecedented things are happening in this trial is because the trial itself is so unprecedented that Trump has to speak out about it because he's running for president. And you've used the legal system to try to stop him from winning. So he must fight this legal battle on legal grounds, while at the same time speaking about it to the public so that they understand how to categorize what's happening to him, how to think about what's happening to him. That's why things feel so extraordinary. But he's not the one who started the extraordinariness. You guys are. You're the ones who shoved the Obamacare down our throats. You're the ones who crossed the legal Rubicon before anything happened with Trump. You guys are the ones who have changed the way we're doing business. And you're the ones who changed the filibuster. You got rid of it for lower federal judges. And then the Republicans got control and got rid of it for the Supreme Court judges. Every once in a while, the other party will regain power and you'll be made to suffer. And that's the only solution here. The Democrats must be made to suffer in the same way. We need to start indicting them.
And look, I was just thinking about examples of things that are the low-hanging fruit, right? If this is what everyone's going to go after. What about all of those members of Congress that with their stock portfolios? What about, frankly, Nancy Pelosi, her personal wealth? Geez, I wonder where all of this inside information keeps coming from. All right, go after that. The only problem, of course, is that many of the jurisdictions which are the heart of power, Los Angeles, New York, and Washington, D.C., because they're so blue, they own those systems. So do you have faith that someone from Texas will be able to go after somebody from Washington?
Yes, I do. But they just haven't, because we haven't done that in America. Right. We haven't done that. But we're about to. The Democrats just created a new rule. We get to do that. That's something we now do. It's disgusting. I hate it. But the only way to stop it is to do it to them in return. You don't think that if Barack Obama wanted to, he could have found a reason to go after George Bush for the torture, all the torture of the, down at Gitmo during the war on terror? You don't think that we could have gone after Barack Obama? Trump could have gone after Barack Obama for the drone strikes? That Trump could have gone after Hillary Clinton, lock her up for the emails? We haven't done that to one another. Democrats and Republicans alike have said, that's not us. It was Joe Biden who changed that. And I pray to God Trump wins, and the first thing he does is tell his Justice Department to go indict Joe Biden, who we already know from the special counsel Robert Hur, H-U-R, has committed a felony. And the only reason he wasn't indicted for his felony, which is keeping classified documents that weren't his, was because he said he's a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, and I couldn't get a jury to convict. Well, let's roll the dice. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll try it in front of a Texas jury or a Mississippi jury. Or maybe we'll go back to that same jury that's trying the Trump classified documents case. So they have a tit for tat. If they decide to acquit one, they're going to have to acquit the other. But that's the first item of business if Trump wins.
And rightly so. Again, they broke it. They're going to have to pay for it. Now, just two quick ones before I let you go. Immediately, everyone says, what does it mean for the election? Look, who knows, right? But obviously, the polling data to this point says anywhere between 6 and 16% of mostly independents would not vote for a person who has been found guilty. We're at that moment now. We've got to wait a couple of weeks to see where polls go, but what's your instinctive feeling about what this moment is for the people who maybe were leaning Trump, but do they lean further in Trump because of the unfairness, or they step away because we couldn't possibly back in a convicted felon?
I'm worried. I know the thing to say right now is, no, everyone's going to rally around Trump. And that's true for Republicans. But we're talking about independents, and they're already on the fence about him. They don't love him. And they probably voted for Joe Biden, some of these, in 2020. But they're warming up to Trump. The economy sucks, inflation, they're paying through the nose for groceries and everything else. They're warming up to Trump. But you know what's going to happen here, Paul? This thing is going to be on loop between now and Election Day. It's all Joe Biden has. Think about it. Nothing's worked. He's hemorrhaging in the polls, the swing states. This is what he has. Convicted felon Donald Trump, convicted felon Donald Trump. And if you ask the average person, they haven't been paying that close attention to this trial. So I think most will not be persuaded to change their vote one way or the other. But this election is going to come down to like a handful. And I'm worried it actually could change their opinion. And so we are going to have to wait and see. I'd still put money on Trump winning this thing, but I don't think this is going to help with those fence sitters who he does need in order to win.
Exactly. Well, we'll see a press conference tomorrow at the very same place where he came down the Golden Escalator for the first time back in 2015. He's doing it at the atrium of Trump Tower. So we'll see the beginnings of the political fight back. We'll see. Last one here is the process question about whether he's going to go to jail. I think this judge, if he can find any way to do it, will do it. Isn't it amazing and how convenient that the sentencing process begins 4 days before the Republican convention? So you reckon he'll slot him?
I don't think he's going to recommend or send him to jail. I don't. I think the prosecution is going to recommend it. They're going to argue for it. Wow. It's potentially up to 4 years, but somebody with no record would never get that. They wouldn't get jail time. I don't think they'd get jail time. I've had some lawyers say they would, but no, I don't think Trump's going to get jail time. But think about, what if he does? What if he sentences him to 30 days and then probation, and he has to show up at the Republican National Convention, where you're supposed to be celebrating with your family and your friends and your, biggest surrogates, and telling the country what you can do for them? Are you going to help change their lives? People are really suffering. And this is their chance to see, like, okay, here's the one guy. I'll take a look at him. And then next month, I'll take a look at the other guy. And I'll make a decision on what's best for my family and my country. And instead, what they want is to have him in an ankle bracelet behind bars. They want him locked up. Who are these people? I don't recognize them as fellow Americans. I don't understand how they're built at all. It's completely unfair to Trump, and yet 4 days before he's supposed to be getting ready for that convention, he will be hearing what his sentence is, and 1 week from the day that sentence is imposed, he's supposed to accept the Republican nomination for president. It's a dark day in America, Paul.
It's disgusting. Thank you for talking to us on this crappy day. We'll talk again in our regular spot next week. Thank you, mate.